The first time I caught him, I forgave him. That's the part I'm not proud of. That's the part that keeps me awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling and wondering how I became the kind of woman who ignored her own instincts. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start at the beginning. The real beginning. His name was Derek, and we'd been married for 8 years when I first saw the text. 8 years of building a life together. A house in a good neighborhood in Austin, Texas. 2 kids, Ella, 6, and Max, 4. A golden retriever named Cooper, who shed on everything. The kind of life that looked perfect from the outside, the kind I'd convinced myself was perfect from the inside too. Derek was a successful architect. I'd stepped back from my teaching career after Max was born, working part-time at a private preschool, so I could be present for the kids. It was the arrangement we'd both agreed on. He'd provide. I'd nurture. We'd grow old together, watching our children have children. The whole American dream script. I believed in that script. God, how I believed in it. The first text showed up on a Tuesday night in March. Derek was in the shower. His phone was on the nightstand, and it buzzed with that specific vibration that means a message, not a notification. I wasn't looking for anything. I was just sitting there, reading a book, when the screen lit up. My sister's name. Lauren, 2 hearts. The little heart emoji caught my eye first. Lauren used hearts with everyone. She was that person, the one who sent kissy emojis to our mom and heart eyes to her girlfriends. It didn't mean anything, but the message preview did. Last night was so fun.
Can't stop thinking about it.
Same time next week? I stared at the screen. Last night. Derek had been out late Tuesday, a work thing, he'd said. A new client dinner. Lauren had been out too, supposedly with friends from her gym. They lived in different circles, different worlds. There was no reason for them to be together. No innocent reason. The shower turned off upstairs. I put the phone down, heart pounding, brain already spinning explanations. Maybe it was a group thing. Maybe they'd run into each other. Maybe. Ava, can you grab me a towel? I forgot one. I grabbed a towel from the linen closet, walked upstairs, handed it to him through the cracked bathroom door. Steam billowed out. He thanked me, kissed my forehead, completely normal, completely unaware that I'd seen something I couldn't unsee. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay next to him in the dark, listening to his breathing, running through every possible scenario. By morning, I'd convinced myself it was nothing. Lauren was dramatic. She probably meant a gym class. Or a TV show they'd both watched. Something innocent.
I didn't ask.
That was my first mistake. The next week, I watched them at Sunday dinner at my parents' house. Lauren and Derek sat across from each other, talking about nothing, work, weather, the kids. Normal. Casual. If there was tension between them, I didn't see it. But I felt something. A shift in the air when they spoke. A way Derek looked at her a second too long. A way Lauren laughed at his jokes a little too hard. Or maybe I was imagining it. Maybe I wanted to imagine it. So I'd have a reason for the knot in my stomach. Another month passed. Spring turned into summer. The kids finished school. We planned a vacation to Florida, a beach rental with my parents and Lauren. She was 31, single. Always the fun aunt who showed up with presents and taught the kids inappropriate songs. Ella adored her. Max followed her around like a puppy. I loved her too. She was my only sister. My person. The one I called at 2 a.m. when I couldn't sleep. The one who'd driven 5 hours when Max was born just to hold my hand. The idea that she would ever hurt me was unthinkable. Which is why, when I saw the second text, I still didn't believe it. This time it was June. Derek left his phone on the kitchen counter while he took out the trash. I was cleaning up after dinner, and it buzzed. Lauren's name again. This time, the preview was longer. I know we said we'd stop, but I can't stop thinking about you. When can we talk? For real this time? I read it 3 times. Then I deleted it. I don't know why I did that. Panic, maybe. Or denial so deep it had become a survival mechanism. If I didn't see it, it wasn't real. If I deleted it, it never happened. Derek came back inside. I handed him his phone without meeting his eyes. He glanced at it, glanced at me, and said nothing. That night, I confronted Lauren. Not in person, I couldn't. I called her after Derek fell asleep, whispering into the phone from the bathroom. Hey, weird time to call. You okay? She sounded groggy, confused. Lauren, I need to ask you something. And I need you to be honest with me.
Pause.
Okay. What's going on?
Derek.
The texts. I've seen them. Silence. Longer this time. What texts? Her voice was careful now. Too careful. I've seen them, Lauren. On his phone. I can't stop thinking about you. When can we talk? What the hell is going on? Another pause. Then she laughed. Oh God, she laughed. Ava, oh my God. Is that what you think?
No. No.
That's... Okay, this is embarrassing, but you have to promise not to tell anyone. I waited. I've been seeing someone.
A guy.
And I've been using Derek as a sounding board because, okay, this is so stupid because I didn't know how to talk to you about it. He's married, Ava. The guy I'm seeing. I know, it's terrible. I've been a mess about it. And Derek's been helping me, listening to me, because he's the only other person I know who's been married, who might understand. She kept talking, but I stopped listening. Relief flooded through me so fast I almost cried. Of course that was it. Lauren was seeing a married man, stupid, selfish Lauren, and Derek was just being a brother-in-law, listening, advising, being there. It made sense. It explained everything. Ava, you still there?
Yeah. My voice was weak.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm so sorry you saw that and thought, God, I'm so sorry. I should have been more careful. I should have just talked to you, but I was embarrassed and it's okay. I cut her off. I get it. Just be careful, okay? With the married guy. That's a mess you don't want. I know. I'm ending it. I swear. We said goodnight. I went back to bed, crawled in next to Derek, and pressed my face against his back. He stirred slightly. You okay?
Yeah.
Just couldn't sleep. He reached back and squeezed my hand. Love you. Love you too. I fell asleep feeling like the luckiest woman alive. I had a husband who loved me, a sister who made stupid choices but wasn't betraying me, a life that was still intact. I held on to that feeling for almost a year of barbecues and birthdays and holidays, a year of watching Lauren date other people. She'd ended things with the married guy, she said, and watching Derek be the same steady husband he'd always been. A year of almost forgetting that knot in my stomach, that moment of doubt. Almost. But not quite. Because somewhere underneath the relief, a tiny voice kept whispering. Why didn't he tell you? If Lauren was just confiding in him, why didn't he mention it? I pushed the voice down every time. I was good at pushing things down. The second time I caught him, I couldn't push it down anymore. It was April again. A Tuesday again. Funny how Tuesdays kept showing up in my life, like bad omens. Derek was working late, a big project, he said. I'd put the kids to bed and was scrolling through my phone in the living room when I realized I needed to send him a reminder about Max's doctor appointment the next day. I opened our shared calendar and saw something I hadn't seen before. An appointment. Recurring. Every Tuesday for the past 3 months. 6-9 p.m. meeting. No details. No location. Just that. I stared at it. Derek worked late on Tuesdays. Had been for months. A big project, he always said. A new client who only met in the evenings. But the calendar didn't say client meeting. It just said meeting. My stomach started to hurt. I opened his location sharing. We'd set it up years ago, back when the kids were small, so we could always find each other in an emergency. I rarely used it, but tonight I did. His phone was at a hotel. Not his office. Not a restaurant. Not a client's building. A hotel. The Marriott near the airport. I sat in the dark living room for a long time, staring at that little dot on the map. Cooper came over and put his head on my knee. I stroked his fur without thinking. Then I grabbed my keys and drove. I don't remember the drive. Don't remember parking. Don't remember walking into that hotel lobby. What I remember is standing at the front desk at 8:47 p.m., asking the young clerk if she could tell me what room my husband was in. I'm sorry, ma'am, we can't give out guest information. I'm his wife. He's here with another woman. Please. She looked at me for a long moment. Young, early 20s maybe. Probably hadn't been trained for this. Ma'am, I really can't. I'm not going to make a scene. I just need to know. Please. Something in my face must have convinced her. She glanced at her screen. Room 412. But please, if there's any trouble. There won't be. I took the stairs. 4 flights. By the time I reached the 4th floor, I was shaking so hard I had to lean against the wall. Room 412 was at the end of the hall. I stood outside it for what felt like hours. I could hear voices inside.
Low.
Muffled. A laugh, a woman's laugh. A laugh I knew. I knocked. The voices stopped. Footsteps. The door opened. Lauren stood there in a hotel robe, hair wet, face frozen in an expression I will never forget.
Shock. Guilt.
And underneath it, something else. Relief. Like she'd been waiting for this moment. Like she was tired of hiding. Ava, she started. I pushed past her into the room. Derek was sitting on the edge of the bed, shirtless, frozen mid-motion like a statue. His eyes met mine, and in that second I saw everything. The guilt. The fear. And underneath it, the same thing I'd seen in Lauren's face. Relief. They'd both been waiting. And I had walked right into their trap. The room smelled like cheap hotel shampoo, and something else I didn't want to identify. I stood there, frozen in the doorway, while Derek scrambled for his shirt and Lauren tightened the robe around herself. Neither of them spoke. Neither of them moved toward me. They just stared, like I was the one who'd done something wrong by showing up. You, I said, pointing at Lauren. My voice didn't sound like mine. It was too calm, too flat. You told me it was nothing. You told me you were confiding in him about some married guy. You sat at my kitchen table and looked me in the eye and lied. Ava, please, she started. Don't. The word came out sharp enough to cut. Don't you dare say my name. Derek stood up, shirt half-buttoned, hands out like he was approaching a frightened animal. Let's just talk about this. Outside. Not here. Talk. I laughed, a sound so hollow it surprised even me. You want to talk? You've been talking for a year. Probably longer. You've been talking in hotels and God knows where else while I was home with our children, making dinner, believing your lies. Baby. I am not your baby. I stepped backward into the hallway. I am not your anything anymore. I turned and walked away. They didn't follow. I made it to the stairwell before my legs gave out. I sat on the cold concrete steps, shaking so hard my teeth chattered, and tried to remember how to breathe. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Somewhere far away, a door slammed. I don't know how long I sat there. Long enough for the shaking to stop. Long enough for the first wave of shock to recede, replaced by something harder, something colder. When I finally stood up, I knew 2 things with absolute certainty. 1, I was never going back to that version of myself, the one who deleted texts and accepted lies and pretended everything was fine. 2, I was going to make them both regret this. Not in a dramatic, movie of the week way. Not with violence or screaming or public scenes. I was going to do it quietly, carefully, completely. I drove home in a daze. The roads were empty, the city quiet. By the time I pulled into our driveway, it was almost 11 p.m. The house was dark except for the nightlight in the hallway, the one we kept on for Max when he got scared. I walked inside and stood in the kitchen. Same kitchen where I'd made 1,000 dinners. Same kitchen where I'd deleted that first text, convincing myself it was nothing. I wasn't that woman anymore. I went upstairs and checked on the kids. Ella was sprawled across her bed, one foot hanging off, mouth slightly open. Max was curled in a ball with his stuffed elephant, the one he'd had since birth. I kissed both their foreheads and stood in the doorway for a long moment.
They were the only thing that mattered now.
Everything else was collateral damage. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the dark living room, Cooper at my feet, and waited. For what I didn't know. Derek to come home with excuses? Lauren to show up with tears? Neither happened. At 6 a.m., I heard a car pull into the driveway. Then footsteps. Then the front door opening slowly, carefully, like he was sneaking into a stranger's house. I didn't move from the couch. He walked into the living room and stopped when he saw me. Dark circles under his eyes. Same shirt from last night, wrinkled now. He looked like hell. He should.
You're still up, he said.
I haven't been to bed. He nodded slowly, like that made sense. Like any of this made sense. Can we talk? You talked last night. At the hotel. With my sister. He flinched. That's not fair. Fair. I stood up. Finally, my voice had some heat in it. You want to talk about fair? Fair would have been honesty a year ago. Fair would have been keeping your dick in your pants. Fair would have been choosing literally anyone other than my own sister. Ava. How long? He hesitated. What? How long has this been going on? The truth this time. No more lies. He looked at the floor. About 18 months. 18 months. A year and a half. The texts I'd seen, the first ones, weren't the beginning. They were already 6 months in. 18 months, I repeated. You've been sleeping with my sister for 18 months. While I was pregnant with Max. While I was recovering from the C-section. While I was up at 3 a.m. breastfeeding. He didn't answer. Didn't need to. And Lauren, I continued. She sat at my baby shower. She held Max when he was 2 hours old. She told me she loved me, that I was her favorite person, that she'd always have my back. Ava, it's complicated. Complicated. I laughed again, that same hollow sound. Everything is always complicated for you, isn't it? Nothing is ever simple. Nothing is ever your fault. There's always a reason. Always an explanation. Always someone else to blame. He looked up. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying. I don't care what you're saying. I walked past him to the front door and opened it. Get out. What? Get out of my house. Go to Lauren's. Go to a hotel. I don't care where. But you're not staying here. Ava, the kids. You lost the right to worry about the kids when you checked into that hotel last night. Now go. He stood there for a long moment, like he was waiting for me to change my mind, to soften, to be the woman who always gave him another chance. I wasn't that woman anymore. He walked out. I closed the door behind him and leaned against it, breathing hard. Cooper came over and pressed his nose into my hand. Just us now, buddy, I whispered. He wagged his tail. The next few hours were a blur of autopilot. I got the kids up, made breakfast, packed lunches, drove them to school, smiled at teachers, waved at neighbors, pretended the world hadn't collapsed. When I got home, I sat at the kitchen table with a notebook and started writing. Everything I knew, everything I suspected, dates, times, details, the texts, the hotel, the 18 months. I wrote until my hand cramped, then kept writing. By noon, I had 12 pages. By 2 p.m., I had a lawyer's appointment. His name was Marcus, same name as the lawyer in the lottery story, but a different man entirely. Older, gruffer, specialized in divorce cases where one spouse had been particularly cruel. Heard this too many times, he said after I finished explaining. Affair with a sister. It's a special kind of betrayal. Can I destroy him? He almost smiled. Legally?
No.
But we can make sure he doesn't benefit from his choices. That's a start. We talked for an hour. Finances, custody, the house, the future. By the time I left, I had a plan. Step 1, protect the kids. Step 2, protect the assets. Step 3, make sure everyone knew exactly what they'd done. Not revenge exactly, but truth. The kind of truth that couldn't be hidden or explained away. That evening, Derek texted. Can I come get some clothes? I replied. Tomorrow at 10. Kids will be at school. Don't be late. He wrote back. Okay. Then I'm sorry. I didn't respond. The next morning, I was waiting when he arrived. He looked worse than yesterday, unshaven, exhausted, like he hadn't slept. I brought boxes, he said quietly. Good. He walked past me and headed upstairs. I followed. In our bedroom, my bedroom now, he started pulling clothes from the closet. Shirts, pants, shoes. He moved slowly, like he was hoping I'd stop him. I didn't. Where's Lauren? I asked. He paused. At her place. She know I caught you?
Yeah.
And he turned to face me. She's devastated. She loves you, Ava. This is killing her. Good. Ava.
No.
I held up a hand. Don't defend her. Don't explain her. Don't make her the victim. She's not the victim. I'm the victim. My children are the victims. You two are just the selfish assholes who destroyed a family. He opened his mouth, then closed it. Pack your things, I said. Be gone by 10:30. I'll have my lawyer send papers by the end of the week. I walked out. At 10:28, I heard the front door close. Then his car starting. Then silence. I sat on the couch and let myself feel it for the first time. The tears came hard and fast, ugly sobs that hurt my throat. Cooper climbed into my lap, too big for it, but I held on anyway. We stayed like that for a long time. Around noon, my phone rang. Lauren. I stared at her name on the screen. The same name that had appeared on Derek's phone all those months ago. The same name I'd trusted, loved, believed. I let it ring. She called again. And again. 7 times total. I didn't answer any of them. That night, after the kids were asleep, I opened my laptop and started writing. Not for a lawyer this time. For me. I wrote about the first text. The second. The way I convinced myself it was nothing. The relief when Lauren lied to me, and how eagerly I'd grabbed onto that lie because the truth was too painful. I wrote about 18 months of betrayal. About hotels and lies, and a sister who smiled at me across Sunday dinner tables while sleeping with my husband. I wrote until 3 a.m. When I finished, I had 20 pages. A record. A testament. A weapon if I chose to use it. I closed the laptop and looked out the window. The street was quiet. The house was quiet. For the first time in 18 months, the silence felt honest. The next few days passed in a strange rhythm. Mornings with the kids, pretending everything was normal. Afternoons with Marcus, planning the dismantling of my marriage. Evenings alone, watching TV I didn't see, eating food I couldn't taste. Lauren kept calling. I kept ignoring. Then, on Friday, she showed up at my door. I saw her through the window, sitting in her car in the driveway, hands on the wheel, staring at the house like she wasn't sure she should get out. She looked smaller than I remembered. Paler. I opened the door before she could knock. What do you want? She flinched at my tone. Can we talk? Please. We're talking. Inside. Please, Ava. I'm begging you. I stared at her for a long moment. The sister I'd loved my whole life. The woman who'd held my hand when our father died. The person I'd trusted most in the world. Now I didn't recognize her at all. 5 minutes, I said. Then you leave. I stepped aside. She walked into the living room, looking around like she'd never seen it before. Maybe she hadn't, not really. Not while seeing it through the lens of her betrayal. Sit down, I said. Talk. She sat on the edge of the couch, hands twisting in her lap. I stayed standing. I don't know how to apologize for something like this, she began. There's no words. Nothing I can say that will make it right. Then why are you here? Because I need you to know that it wasn't supposed to happen. If you say it just happened, I will throw you out of this house. She swallowed. Okay. It didn't just happen. We made choices. Bad choices. I made bad choices. Every step of the way, I could have stopped, and I didn't. That's on me. I waited. It started about 18 months ago. You were pregnant with Max, and Derek was stressed about work, and I was lonely and stupid, and we had lunch one day, and what? You fell in love. She looked up.
No.
Not love.
Not then.
It was just attention. He paid attention to me, and I liked it. And then one thing led to another, and... Spare me the details. She nodded quickly. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm not trying to make excuses. I need you to know that I never stopped loving you. That every time I was with him, I hated myself. That I wanted to stop, but didn't know how. You knew how. You just didn't want to. She started crying. Quiet tears, sliding down her cheeks. You're right. You're absolutely right. I didn't want to stop because I was selfish and broken, and I don't care about your self-analysis, Lauren. I care about one thing. Did you ever think about me? About Ella and Max? About what this would do to our family? She nodded, still crying. Every day. And you did it anyway. Yes. I let the silence stretch. Get out. Ava. Get out of my house. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't come here again. If you want to see the kids, you go through Derek. But you and I are done. She stood slowly, like an old woman. At the door, she turned back. I really do love you. I know you don't believe that, but it's true. I love you. And I destroyed us, and I'll never forgive myself. Good. She walked out. I closed the door and leaned against it, shaking. But this time I didn't cry. I was done crying. The next morning, Marcus called. Papers are ready. I'll send them over for your review. And Ava, there's something else. What? I did some digging. Financial records, credit card statements, phone logs. The affair didn't start 18 months ago. My stomach dropped. What? It started over 2 years ago. 26 months, to be exact. Before you got pregnant with Max. I sat down heavily. He's been lying about the timeline. And if he's lying about that, he's lying about other things too. Like what? Like money. He's been spending on her, hotels, dinners, a trip to Mexico 6 months ago that he told you was a work conference. I closed my eyes. Mexico. He'd been gone 4 days. I'd been home with a toddler and a newborn, exhausted and lonely, believing he was working. You still want to destroy him? Marcus asked. More than ever. Then let's get to work. The discovery process was like peeling an onion made of knives. Every layer revealed something worse. Every document Marcus sent made me feel simultaneously vindicated and nauseated. Derek hadn't just been lying about the affair, he'd been lying about everything. The Mexico trip wasn't the only one. There was a weekend in New Orleans 6 months before that. A guy's trip to Vegas that was actually just him and Lauren. Hotel stays I'd never questioned, credit card charges I'd never noticed because I trusted him. Trust. What a joke that word had become. The financial picture was even uglier. Derek had been siphoning money from our joint accounts for over a year. Small amounts at first, here $200, there $500, but it added up. Nearly $15,000. All spent on Lauren. Dinners. Gifts. That Mexico trip. Our savings account, already thin from the cost of raising 2 kids, was almost empty. He's been planning this, I said to Marcus during one of our meetings. Not leaving, he never planned to leave, but covering his tracks. Making sure he had resources if everything blew up, probably. Or he's just selfish and didn't think past the next hotel room. Which is worse? Neither. Both. Doesn't matter. What matters is what we do with it. What we did was file for divorce with extreme prejudice. Full financial disclosure. A demand for forensic accounting. A custody arrangement that gave me primary physical custody and Derek's supervised visitation until a psychological evaluation could be completed. His lawyer fought back, of course. Called it excessive. Unnecessary. Vindictive. I didn't care. Let them call me whatever they wanted. I was done being the nice wife who looked the other way. The kids adapted better than I expected. Children are resilient, people say, and it's true. But resilience comes at a cost. Ella asked about Daddy every night for weeks. Max, too young to understand, just seemed confused when Derek missed his scheduled calls. I answered their questions honestly, but gently. Daddy made some mistakes and needs some time to fix them. He loves you very much, but he can't live here right now. None of this is your fault. I must have said, none of this is your fault 1,000 times. I hoped someday they'd believe it. Lauren, meanwhile, had become a ghost. She'd stopped calling after that last visit. Stopped showing up. My parents, caught in the middle, didn't know what to do. My mom called me weekly, walking the tightrope between supporting me and not completely disowning her other daughter. She's a mess, Mom said during one call. She's lost weight. Can't hold down food. I'm worried about her. Good. Ava.
No, Mom.
I don't get to feel sorry for her. She slept with my husband for over 2 years. She smiled at my baby shower while pregnant with his child in her. I stopped. The thought hit me like a truck. Pregnant. Lauren had been seeing Derek for 26 months. 26 months of fertile, unprotected, no reason to be careful sex. Oh my God, I whispered.
What?
What is it? I have to go, Mom. I hung up and called Marcus immediately. Did the financial records show any medical expenses? Doctor visits? Pharmacy charges? There was a pause while he pulled up files. Yes, actually. Several charges to an OBGYN's office.
Why?
My heart stopped. When? He read off dates. 9 months ago. 8 months ago. 7 months ago. Right around the time Lauren had lost weight and couldn't hold down food. She had a baby, I said slowly. Or got pregnant. Derek's baby. Marcus was quiet for a moment. That's speculation. It's math. 26 months of affair. Doctor visits 9 months ago. She's been a wreck ever since. Where's the baby, Marcus? I don't know, but I can find out.
He did.
3 days later, I had my answer. Lauren had given birth 8 months ago. A baby girl. She'd placed her for adoption through a private agency in Houston. Closed records. No contact. Derek had signed away his parental rights 6 weeks before the birth. He'd known. He'd known he had another child out there, a daughter he'd never see, and he'd said nothing. Not to me. Not to anyone. I sat in my car in the parking lot of my lawyer's office and cried for that baby. For Lauren, even in some strange way. For the mess they'd made, and the life that would grow up never knowing its origins. And for myself. For the version of me that had believed, for even 1 second, that any of this could be fixed. That night, I did something I'd never done before. I drove to Derek's apartment. He was living in a 1-bedroom place on the south side of town, the kind of complex with thin walls and shared laundry and parking spots numbered but not assigned. I'd gotten the address from Marcus. I'd never used it. Now I was standing outside his door. He opened it looking surprised. Then wary. Then something else. Hope? Did he really think I was here to take him back?
We need to talk, I said.
Okay. He stepped aside. Come in. The apartment was sad. That was my first thought. Sad beige furniture. Dishes in the sink. A single photo of Ella and Max on the otherwise bare refrigerator. This was where my husband lived now, and it looked like a college student's first place after a breakup. I didn't sit down. I know about the baby. His face went pale. Completely, instantly pale. What baby? Don't. I know about the pregnancy. I know about the adoption. I know you signed away your rights. I know everything. He sank onto the couch like his legs had given out. Ava. How could you not tell me? My voice was shaking, but I didn't care. How could you keep something like that secret? A child. Your child. My niece. She's not. She was never. She's my sister's daughter. She's my children's half-sibling. She's part of this family whether you it or not. He put his head in his hands. I didn't know what to do. When Lauren found out, she was terrified. She didn't want anyone to know. She made me promise. She made you promise? I laughed bitterly. You're a grown man. You made a child. And you let her handle it alone while you went back to your wife and pretended nothing happened. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Enlighten me. Explain how hiding a pregnancy and signing away your rights was the only option. He looked up, and for the first time, I saw real pain in his eyes. Not guilt.
Not shame. Grief.
She didn't want me there, he said quietly. At the birth. She didn't want me at the hospital. She said I'd already ruined enough. She said the baby deserved better than both of us. I stared at him. She was right, he continued. The baby deserved better. Better than a father who'd cheat on his wife. Better than a mother who'd sleep with her sister's husband. Better than any of this mess. So you just walked away? What was I supposed to do? Fight her? Force my way into the delivery room? Take the baby and raise it myself while still married to you? The questions hung in the air. I didn't have answers. I still don't. We sat in silence for a long time. Him on the couch, me standing by the door. The weight of everything. 2 years of lies, a baby given away, a family destroyed, pressed down on us both. Why are you here? He finally asked. I don't know. To hear you say it, maybe. To know for sure. Know what? That you're capable of this. That I married someone who could do all of this and still look me in the eye every morning. He didn't answer. He didn't have to. I left without saying goodbye. The drive home was a blur. I pulled into the garage, sat in the dark car, and let myself feel everything. The anger, the grief, the strange, hollow pity for the man I'd once loved. And underneath it all, a question I couldn't shake. What else didn't I know? The next few weeks were a marathon of legal battles and emotional fallout. Marcus filed motions. Derek's lawyer filed counters. We went through 2 mediation sessions that went nowhere. The baby, the adoption, the secrecy, the signed rights became a central issue in the custody fight. She's not relevant, Derek's lawyer argued. The adoption is closed. The child is not part of this marriage. The deception is relevant, Marcus countered. The fact that my client's husband concealed a pregnancy and a child for months speaks directly to his character and fitness as a parent. The judge agreed to consider it. Meanwhile, Lauren had disappeared. Not figuratively, literally. She'd packed a bag and left town. My parents didn't know where. Her friends didn't know. Her phone was off, social media dark, apartment empty. She'll turn up, my mom said, trying to comfort me. She always does. I wasn't sure I wanted her to. One night, after the kids were asleep, I sat on the back porch with a glass of wine and thought about that baby. My niece. Somewhere in Texas, probably, growing up with strangers who'd love her and never know where she came from. Would she ever find out? Would she search for her birth parents someday, only to discover this mess? I hoped not. I hoped she'd grow up happy and whole and completely unaware of the chaos that brought her into the world. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me swipe right. Hello. Silence. Then breathing. Lauren.
Yeah.
Her voice was hoarse. Broken. It's me. Where are you? Doesn't matter. I needed to hear your voice. One more time. My throat tightened. Lauren. I know I don't deserve it. I know you hate me. I needed to say goodbye. Really say it. Not like last time. Goodbye. I'm not coming back, Ava. Not to Austin. Not to this life.
I've hurt too many people.
I need to start over somewhere I can't do any more damage. You can't just run away. Watch me. Silence stretched between us. The baby, I said quietly. Her name. What was her name? A long pause. Then, so soft I almost missed it, Hope. I named her Hope. I closed my eyes. I know you'll never forgive me, she continued. I don't expect you to, but I need you to know that I loved you. I love you still, and I'm so sorry. For everything. Lauren. Goodbye, Ava. Take care of Ella and Max, tell them their aunt loved them. The line went dead. I sat in the dark, phone in my hand, and cried for my sister. Not the woman who'd betrayed me. The girl I grew up with. The one who held my hair back when I was sick. The one who snuck into my room at night when we were kids, scared of thunderstorms. The one who'd promised me, years ago, that we'd always be sisters first. We'd both broken that promise.
Hers was just louder.
The divorce was finalized in October. 6 months of legal warfare. 6 months of discovery and depositions and negotiations. 6 months of watching my life get picked apart by strangers in suits. In the end, I got what mattered. Primary custody of the kids. The house. Enough financial settlement to keep us stable. Derek got supervised visitation and a mountain of debt. His lawyer tried to appeal. The judge denied it. The day the papers were signed, I took the kids to their favorite park and watched them play on the swings. Ella was getting so big, losing teeth, reading chapter books, asking questions I didn't know how to answer. Max was all energy, running until he collapsed, then running some more. They were okay. We were okay. That night, after they were asleep, I pulled out the journal I'd started months ago. The one with all the notes, all the pain, all the truth I'd been collecting like evidence. I read through it cover to cover. Then I closed it and put it in a box in the back of my closet. Not to forget, but to stop living in it. The next morning, I woke up early, made coffee, watched the sunrise from my back porch. For the first time in almost 3 years, I didn't think about Derek or Lauren or the baby or any of it. I thought about what came next. And for the first time, that didn't feel terrifying. It felt like possibility. Winter arrived in Austin like it always did, reluctantly, with a few cold days that made everyone panic and buy bread and milk, followed by weeks of perfect 70-degree weather that reminded me why we lived here. The kids thrived in the new routine. Ella started first grade with a teacher who recognized her anxiety and gave her extra time to adjust. Max discovered a love for dinosaurs that bordered on obsession. Every night before bed, I had to read at least 3 books about T-Rexes and Triceratops, and woe to me if I skipped a page. I started working full-time again. The preschool welcomed me back with open arms, and being around other people's children gave me perspective on my own. Every tantrum, every sleepless night, every moment of exhaustion, it was all normal, all part of the job, all survivable. Derek's supervised visits were every other Saturday at a facility downtown. I dropped the kids off, picked them up 2 hours later, and exchanged exactly 0 words with him beyond, "See you at 6." The facility staff handled the rest. Ella came home from those visits quiet sometimes, talkative others. I never knew which version I'd get. "Daddy has a new girlfriend," she announced one Saturday in November. I kept my face neutral. "Oh, her name is Sarah. She has a dog." "That sounds nice."
She's not as pretty as you.
I pulled her into a hug, so she wouldn't see my expression. "You're biased, baby." "What's biased?" "It means you love me too much to be objective." She nodded seriously, like that made perfect sense, and ran off to play. New girlfriend. Of course. Derek had never been good at being alone. I filed the information away in the mental folder labeled "Things That Don't Matter Anymore" and moved on with my day. Thanksgiving came and went. We spent it with my parents, who tiptoed around Lauren's absence like it was a landmine. Her name didn't come up. Her empty chair at the table spoke for itself. After dinner, my mom pulled me aside. "Have you heard from her?"
No.
"She called me last week."
She's in Oregon, she said.
"Working at a bookstore. Living in a tiny apartment." I didn't respond.
She asked about you.
"About the kids." She cried. "Mom, I know. I'm not asking you to forgive her. I'm her mother. I get to miss her too." I hugged her then, because what else could I do? We were both grieving, just different versions of the same loss. December brought Christmas preparations and a strange sense of normalcy. I decorated the tree with the kids, using the same ornaments we'd always used. I baked cookies, wrapped presents, attended school pageants. I did all the things I was supposed to do, and for the most part, I felt like I was doing them as myself, not as an actress playing a role. The difference, I realized one night, was that I wasn't pretending anymore. I wasn't pretending to be happy in a marriage that was dying. I wasn't pretending not to see what was right in front of me. I wasn't pretending that everything was fine when it wasn't. I was just living. And living, it turned out, was enough. On Christmas Eve, after the kids were asleep, I sat on the back porch with a glass of wine and let myself think about Lauren. Not the betrayal, not the pain, just her, the sister I'd grown up with, the one who taught me to ride a bike, the one who held my hand at our father's funeral, the one who'd driven 5 hours when Max was born, walked into my hospital room, and burst into tears because she was so happy for me. That Lauren still existed somewhere, buried under years of bad choices and selfishness, and whatever damage had led her to destroy us both. I hoped she was okay. I hoped Oregon was good to her. I hoped she'd find a way to forgive herself, even if I never could. I didn't pray. I wasn't the praying type. But I sent something like a wish into the dark sky. Take care of her, even if I can't. The new year brought resolutions I didn't make and changes I didn't plan. In January, Derek's lawyer filed a motion to modify custody. He wanted more time with the kids. Unsupervised visits. Overnights on weekends. Marcus called me immediately. He's got a new lawyer. Aggressive one. They're arguing that enough time has passed, that he's in therapy, that supervised visits are no longer necessary. He's been in therapy for 3 months, which is 3 months more than before. The court might see that as progress. What do? We fight. We present evidence. We remind the judge about the baby, the lies, the of deception. And we hope. The hearing was scheduled for March. I spent the next 2 months preparing, gathering documents, meeting with Marcus, talking to a child psychologist about what unsupervised visits might mean for Ella and Max. I also started therapy myself. Dr. Reyes was a small woman with kind eyes and a direct manner. She listened to my story without judgment, then asked a question that stopped me cold. What do you want? Not for the kids, not for the court, not for anyone else.
For you.
I thought about it. I want to stop being angry. That's a good start. But anger is protective. It keeps you safe. What do you want underneath the anger? Underneath. I dug deep. I want to trust someone again. I want to believe that not everyone will hurt me. I want to stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. Dr. Reyes nodded. That's the real work. The anger is easy. Trust is hard. How do I do it? You start small. You practice on safe people. You let yourself be seen little by little and notice what happens when you aren't hurt. It sounded simple. It wasn't. But I started trying. In February, something unexpected happened. I met someone. His name was Daniel. He was a dad at Max's preschool, divorced, with a son the same age. We'd nodded at each other at pickup for months, without really speaking. Then one day, we ended up at the same coffee shop during a preschool event, both hiding from the chaos. Mind if I sit here? He asked, gesturing to the empty chair at my table. Go ahead. He sat. We made small talk. The usual divorced parent script. How old is your kid? How long have you been at this school? Isn't the parking lot a nightmare? Then he said something that made me look at him differently. I know this is weird, he said. Meeting people as a single parent. It's like you're not just representing yourself anymore. You're representing this whole little person who didn't ask for any of it. Exactly, I said. It's like dating with a hostage. He laughed, a real laugh, warm and surprised. That's exactly what it's like. I'm stealing that. We talked for another hour. About co-parenting, about the guilt, about the strange freedom of finally being honest about how hard it all was. When we finally left, he asked for my number. Just as friends, he added quickly. If you're not ready for anything. It's okay, I said. Friends is good. He texted that night. A stupid joke about preschool pickup lines. I laughed out loud, alone in my kitchen, and realized it was the first time I'd laughed like that in months. We texted for 2 weeks before meeting again. Coffee, then lunch, then a walk at a park where our kids played together, and we sat on a bench watching them.
It wasn't romantic.
Not yet. But it was something. Something that felt like possibility. The custody hearing arrived on a gray March morning. I dressed carefully, professional but not cold, serious but not desperate. Marcus met me outside the courthouse with a folder full of evidence and a reassuring nod. We've got this, he said. You don't know that. I know we've got the stronger case. The rest is up to the judge. Inside, Derek was already seated with his new lawyer. He looked different, thinner, more serious. The new girlfriend wasn't there, but I noticed he wasn't wearing his wedding ring anymore. Hadn't been for a while. He caught my eye and nodded once. I nodded back. We were past pretending. The hearing lasted 3 hours. Witnesses, arguments, cross-examinations. The child psychologist testified about the importance of stability. Marcus presented evidence of the affair, the hidden pregnancy, the financial deception. Derek's lawyer argued that he'd changed, that therapy was working, that everyone deserved a second chance. At the end, the judge said she'd need time to consider. We'll issue a ruling within 2 weeks, she announced. Until then, the current custody arrangement stands. 2 weeks. I could survive 2 weeks. Daniel texted that night. How'd it go? I replied, waiting. The worst part. He wrote back. Waiting is hard. Want company? My place, pizza, bad movies. No pressure. I thought about it. Thought about the kids with my parents for the night. Thought about the empty house waiting for me. Okay, I typed. But only if the movies are really bad. They're terrible. I specialize in terrible. I laughed again. That was becoming a pattern. His apartment was small but comfortable. Lots of books. A guitar in the corner. Photos of his son on every surface. We ordered pizza, put on a movie so bad it was almost good, and didn't watch a single minute of it.
We talked instead.
About our marriages. Our mistakes. Our kids. The things we wished we'd done differently, and the things we were proud of. I was married for 11 years, he said. Thought I'd be married forever. When it ended, I didn't know who I was anymore. How did you figure it out? Still figuring. But I've learned that who I was before, that person's still in there. Just different now. More careful. More grateful for the small stuff. I nodded. That's exactly it. More careful. He looked at me for a long moment. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Are you happy? The question caught me off guard. I thought about it, really thought, before answering. Not yet. But I'm getting there. I'm closer than I was. That's honest. That's the only way I know how to be now. He smiled.
Good.
Honest is good. Around midnight, I drove home. The roads were empty, the city quiet. I rolled down the window and let the cool air hit my face. For the first time in years, I felt something I couldn't quite name. Not happiness, exactly.
Not peace.
But something warm underneath the cold.
Hope, maybe.
The real kind. Not the name of a baby I'd never meet. But the feeling that things could be okay. That I could be okay. That I already was more than I realized. The judge's ruling came on a Thursday. Full custody remained with me. Derek's visits would stay supervised for another 6 months, then be reevaluated. He'd have to complete a full year of therapy and submit to regular drug testing, not because of drugs, but because the judge wanted proof of stability. Marcus called with the news. You won. Completely. I sat down on the kitchen floor. Cooper came over and licked my face. Thank you, I whispered. Thank you so much. You did the work. I just filed the papers. I hung up and cried. Relief this time, not grief. The long battle was over. The kids were safe. I could breathe. That night, I took Ella and Max to their favorite restaurant. We ate too much pizza and played too many arcade games and stayed out way past their bedtime. Mommy's happy, Ella observed on the way home. I am, baby. Why? I thought about it. Because we're together. Because we're okay. Because I have you too. She nodded seriously. That's a good reason.
Yeah.
It is.
Katie.
Whatever works. I laughed. That's your answer for everything. Because it works for everything. The waves kept coming. Steady. Reliable. Nothing like the chaos I'd left behind. I thought about Derek. About Lauren. About the baby named Hope I'd never meet. They were part of my story.
They'd always be.
But they weren't my whole story anymore. I had new chapters now. New characters. New possibilities. And for the first time, I was excited to see what came next. The second postcard arrived in July. Same Oregon Coast photo. Same handwriting. But this time, there was a return address, a P.O. box in a small town called Cannon Beach. I'm still here. Still okay. Thought you might want to know where to find me, just in case. No pressure. Ever.
L.
I held the postcard for a long time, tracing the letters with my thumb. Cannon Beach. I'd seen pictures, it was beautiful. Rugged coastline, tide pools, a massive rock called Haystack that rose out of the ocean. The kind of place people went to heal. Maybe Lauren was healing there. Maybe she was just hiding. Maybe both. I put the postcard next to the first one on the refrigerator. To now. A small collection of my sister's attempts to reach across the distance she'd created. Ella noticed it one morning. Who's sending you postcards, Mommy? An old friend. Can I see? I handed it to her. She studied the picture seriously. It's pretty. Is your friend okay? I think so. I hope so. She should come visit. We have a pool now. We did have a pool now, a small above-ground one in the backyard that Daniel had helped me set up. The kids lived in it all summer. I lived in a lawn chair next to it, sunscreen in one hand, book in the other. I'll tell her, I said. But I didn't.
Not yet.
August brought the kind of heat that made everyone slow and irritable. The kids bickered more. I snapped more. Even Daniel, usually unflappable, got testy during a board game that ended with Monopoly money thrown across the room. It's the heat, he said, apologizing later. Makes everyone crazy. It's not the heat. It's August. August is just hard. He pulled me into a hug. We're almost through it. September's coming. September's school supplies and schedules and chaos. September's also my birthday, which you haven't forgotten, right? I laughed. I haven't forgotten. I got you something good. Yeah, but you have to wait. He kissed the top of my head. I'm good at waiting.
He was.
That was one of the things I loved about him, the patience. The way he never pushed, never rushed, never made me feel like I was moving too slow. I was moving, though, slowly but surely, towards something I couldn't quite name. The third postcard came in September. This time it was different. Not a photo of Oregon, but a painting, a small reproduction of a local artist's work. A lighthouse on a cliff, light beaming out into darkness. On the back, I started painting. It helps. This one reminded me of you. Always the light in the storm. I miss you.
L. I stared at it for a long time.
Always the light in the storm. Was that how she saw me? Even after everything? I didn't feel like a light. I felt like someone who'd been through a storm and was still finding pieces of herself scattered everywhere. But maybe that's what light did. Shone even when it was broken. I added it to the refrigerator. 3 postcards now. A row of Lauren reaching out. Daniel noticed me looking at them that night. You're thinking about her. Always. Less than I used to. But still. What are you thinking? I considered the question. Whether I'm ready. Whether I'll ever be ready. Whether ready is even a real thing, or just something we tell ourselves to feel in control. Deep thoughts for a Tuesday. I smiled. August is over. Now it's deep thought season. He wrapped his arms around me from behind. You'll know when you're ready. Or you won't, and you'll do it anyway. Either way, you'll be okay. You really believe that? I really believe you're the strongest person I know.
So yeah.
I believe it. I leaned back into him and let myself feel held. In October, something unexpected happened. Derek called, not text call. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Ava. His voice sounded different.
Softer.
Older. Derek. I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I'll make this quick. I waited. I'm getting married. To Sarah. The woman I've been seeing. My first reaction was surprise that he felt the need to tell me. My second was something else. A strange, distant sadness for the man I'd once loved. Okay, I said. I wanted you to hear it from me, not through the kids. And I wanted to say, I know I don't have the right to ask for anything. But I hope you're happy, Ava. I really do. You deserve to be happy. I thought about Daniel, about the kids, about the life I'd built from the wreckage. I said. I am happy. Good. That's really good. Silence stretched between us. Take care of the kids, he said finally. I'll see them Saturday. I will. He hung up. I stood in my kitchen, phone in hand, and realized I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. No longing. Just the quiet awareness that he was no longer part of my emotional landscape. That was freedom. November brought cooler weather and a decision. I was going to Oregon. Not to stay. Not to forgive. Just to see. Just to know. Daniel offered to come with me. I said no, this was something I needed to do alone. My mom agreed to watch the kids for a long weekend. I booked a flight to Portland and a rental car to the coast. I didn't tell Lauren I was coming. The drive from Portland to Cannon Beach was beautiful. Green and misty and completely different from Texas. By the time I reached the coast, I understood why she'd stayed. The town was small and charming. Art galleries, coffee shops, views of that massive rock I'd seen in pictures. I checked into a bed and breakfast, then sat in my car outside the P.O. box address, heart pounding. What was I doing? What if she didn't want to see me? What if she did? I drove to the bookstore where my mom said Lauren worked. It was a tiny place on a corner, windows full of local authors and handmade candles. I parked across the street and watched for a while. Then I walked in. The bell on the door chimed. The smell of paper and coffee wrapped around me. And there, behind the counter, was my sister. She looked up. The color drained from her face.
Ava.
Hi, Lauren. She didn't move.
Didn't speak.
Just stared like she was seeing a ghost. I walked toward the counter slowly. I got your postcards. Her voice broke. I didn't think, I never expected. I know. That's why I didn't tell you I was coming.
She started to cry.
Quiet tears sliding down cheeks that were thinner than I remembered. She looked older, tired, but also calmer, like the storm inside her had finally settled. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. I know. I ruined everything. I ruined us. I ruined Lauren. I waited until she looked at me. I know. She wiped her face with her hands. Why are you here? I don't know exactly.
To see you.
To understand. To stop wondering. Are you going to forgive me? I thought about it. Really thought. I don't know that either. But I'm here. That's something. She nodded slowly. That's more than I deserve.
Probably.
But here we are. We stood there for a long moment, the chasm of betrayal between us, but also something else.
History. Love.
The memory of 1,000 small moments before everything broke. Do you want to get coffee? She asked. There's a place next door. Okay. We sat at a small table by the window, coffee untouched between us. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then she started talking about the affair, about how it started, a stupid flirtation that got out of hand, about how she'd wanted to stop 100 times and couldn't, about the pregnancy, the adoption, the months of hiding. I wanted to tell you so many times, she said. Every time I saw you, I wanted to fall on my knees and confess everything. But I was a coward. I kept thinking I could fix it myself, that I could make it go away, that if I just ended things with him, you'd never have to know. But I did know.
Yeah.
You did. She looked down. The worst part, the absolute worst part, was that when you found out, part of me was relieved. No more secrets. No more lies. Just the truth, finally, even though it destroyed everything. I let that sit. I hated myself, she continued. I still hate myself some days. That's why I left. Not to run away from you, to run away from who I'd become. I needed to figure out if there was still a person in here worth saving. And is there? She looked up. I don't know. I'm trying. I'm in therapy. I go to meetings not for addiction but for people who've done terrible things. I paint. I work. I take it one day at a time. Some days I feel like maybe I'm becoming someone new. Other days I just feel like the same broken person in a different place. That's honest. That's the only way I know how to be now. The words echoed Daniel's from months ago. Maybe honesty was contagious. Maybe we were all learning it one broken piece at a time. I have kids, I said. You know that. They're growing so fast. Ella asks about you sometimes. Her face crumpled. She does? She remembers you. The fun aunt. The one who taught her inappropriate songs. Lauren laughed through tears. I taught her Baby Beluga. That's not inappropriate. You taught her the extended version, with the hand motions. That's educational. We both laughed. It felt strange and right and terrifying all at once. I'm not ready to forgive you, I said. I don't know if I'll ever be ready, but I'm tired of carrying the anger. It's heavy. It's been heavy for a long time. I know. I'm sorry I gave it to you.
You did.
But I'm the one who's been holding it. And I think I want to put it down. She reached across the table, slowly, like she was afraid I'd pull away. I let her take my hand. Whatever you need, she said. Whatever timeline. I'll wait. I've already waited this long. I squeezed her hand once, then let go. We talked for another hour. About her life in Oregon, about my life in Texas, about the kids and Daniel and the slow work of becoming whole. It wasn't easy. It wasn't comfortable, but it was real. When I finally stood to leave, she walked me to my car. Will you come back? She asked. I don't know. Maybe. That's fair. I got in the car and rolled down the window. She stood on the curb, small and hopeful and broken.
Lauren?
Yeah. Keep sending the postcards. She smiled. A real smile, the first I'd seen since I arrived. I will. I drove away watching her in the rearview mirror until she disappeared. December arrived with its usual chaos. The kids were obsessed with Christmas. Daniel and I navigated the complexities of blended family holidays, his son with his ex-wife, my kids with Derek's supervised visits, all of us trying to make it work. It was messy.
Complicated. Exhausting.
It was also wonderful. On Christmas Eve, after the kids were finally asleep, Daniel and I sat by the tree with glasses of wine. Good day, he asked. Good day. Exhausting day. But good. Same. He leaned his head on my shoulder. I love this. Even the chaos. Especially the chaos. Me too. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the tree lights blink. I talked to Lauren yesterday, I said. Yeah? How was it? Hard.
Good.
Strange. I paused. She's doing better. She's in a program. She's painting. She sounds lighter. That's good. It is. I think. I'm still figuring out what I feel. You don't have to figure it out tonight. I smiled. You always say that. Because it's always true. I kissed his forehead. I love you. Love you too. Now drink your wine before it gets warm. I laughed and did. The new year came with resolutions I actually kept. More patience. Less worry. More honesty. Less hiding. I started writing again, not just journals, but stories. About survival. About betrayal. About the strange, beautiful process of becoming someone new. I shared some of them online, anonymously at first. Women responded. Shared their own stories. Thanked me for putting words to feelings they couldn't express. It became something. A community. A purpose. In February, I got a package from Oregon. Inside was a painting. The lighthouse again, but different this time. The light beaming out, but the storm around it softer, almost peaceful. On the back, a note. I'm learning to be the lighthouse instead of the storm. Thank you for showing me it's possible.
L.
I hung it in my bedroom where I could see it every morning. A reminder that even the worst damage could become something beautiful. Spring came. The kids grew. Daniel and I got more serious, talking about the future in ways that felt real instead of scary. Derek's supervised visits ended. He had overnights now, every other weekend, and the kids came back happy and settled. Sarah was good to them, I could tell. Whatever else he was trying to be a better father. I was glad. For them, not for him. In May, I went back to Oregon. This time, Lauren knew I was coming. This time, I stayed for a week. We walked on the beach. We cooked meals together. We talked about everything. The past, the present, the fragile hope of a future where we might be sisters again. Not the same sisters. Never that. But something new. Something built from the rubble. On my last night, we sat on the beach watching the sunset. I'm proud of you, I said. She looked at me, surprised. For what? For staying. For doing the work. For not running away from yourself. I had good example.
She nudged me.
Someone showed me it was possible. I leaned into her shoulder. The waves crashed. The sky turned gold and pink and purple. I don't know if I'll ever fully forgive you, I said quietly. I know, but I'm glad you're my sister. She was quiet for a moment. Then, I'm glad you're mine too. We sat there until the stars came out. June brought a milestone I hadn't expected. Ella's school play. She had a small part, a tree in the background, but she practiced her one line for weeks with the intensity of a Broadway star. The night of the performance, the auditorium was packed. Daniel and I sat in the third row, Max on Daniel's lap, both of us holding back laughter as Ella delivered her line with dramatic flair. You are not passing through this forest, she announced to the hero, arms spread wide. The audience applauded. She beamed. Afterward, In the chaos of proud parents and excited kids, I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned. Lauren stood there, looking nervous and hopeful and utterly out of place in her Oregon casual clothes. "I hope it's okay that I came," she said quickly. "I didn't want to miss it. I called Mom, she told me about the play. I flew in this morning. I can leave if you want me to, Lauren." I stopped her. "It's okay." She exhaled. "Really? Really?" I looked around for Ella, spotted her talking to friends. "She'll want to see you. She's asked about you." Tears filled Lauren's eyes. "I don't deserve." "Probably not. But she's 7. She doesn't care about deserve. She just cares that you're here." Ella spotted us then. Her face went through several expressions: confusion, recognition, joy, before she launched herself across the room. "Aunt Lauren." Lauren caught her, lifted her, held on like she'd never let go. I watched them together and felt something shift inside me. Not forgiveness, exactly. Something softer. Something that didn't need a name. Daniel came up beside me, Max in his arms. "That your sister?" "Yeah." "The one who—" "Yeah." He watched them for a moment. "She looks like she's trying." "She is." "That's something." I leaned into him. "Yeah, it is." That night, we all had dinner together. Lauren, me, Daniel, the kids. It was awkward at first, then less so, then almost normal. Max showed Lauren his dinosaur collection. Ella made her tell the baby beluga story 3 times. By the end, Lauren was laughing, really laughing, and so were the rest of us. After the kids were asleep, Lauren and I sat on the back porch. "Thank you," she said, "for today. For letting me be part of it." "You're their aunt. That doesn't change because of what happened." "It could have. Would have if you decided differently." "Maybe. But I didn't." She nodded slowly. "Can I ask you something?"
"Sure."
"Are we going to be okay? Someday?" I thought about it. Thought about everything we'd been through. Everything we'd lost. Everything we were still trying to build. "I don't know," I admitted. "But I'm willing to find out." She reached for my hand. I let her take it. "Me too," she whispered. "Me too." Summer arrived in full force. The pool got constant use. The kids got tan and tired and happy. Daniel and I talked about moving in together, maybe next year, maybe the year after. No rush. No pressure. Lauren came back twice more. Each time was easier. Each time felt less like walking on eggshells and more like family. In August, I got a letter from Derek. Not a text. An actual letter, handwritten, on plain white paper. "Dear Ava, I'm writing because there are things I need to say that I can't say in person or over the phone. You don't have to respond. You don't have to read this more than once. But I need to say them.
"I'm sorry."
I know that word doesn't mean much after everything. But I need you to know that I understand now, really understand, what I did to you. The lies. The betrayal. The years of deception. I told myself stories to justify it, but they were just stories. The truth is I was selfish and weak, and I hurt the person who trusted me most. I'm in therapy. Real therapy, not the court-ordered kind. I'm doing the work. I'm trying to understand why I did what I did, so I never do it again. I don't expect your forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know that I see you now. I see the woman I married, the mother of my children, the person I destroyed. And I'm so sorry. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of being their father. That's all I can do. Derek. I read it 3 times. Then I folded it carefully and put it in the box in my closet. The one with the journals and the memories and the evidence of a life that no longer existed. Not because I forgave him, but because I was done carrying it. September brought school and schedules and the beautiful chaos of normal life. On a random Tuesday, Tuesdays didn't scare me anymore. I sat on the back porch with a cup of coffee and watched the kids play in the yard. Ella was teaching Max a game. He was messing up the rules. She was correcting him with the infinite patience of a big sister. They were laughing. Daniel was inside, making breakfast. I could hear him singing along to the radio, badly. My phone buzzed. A text from Lauren. A photo of a painting she'd just finished. the lighthouse again, but different. This time, there were two figures at the base, small but visible, watching the light together. The caption, "For us."
For everything.
I smiled. Then I put the phone down and went back to watching my children play. The sun was warm. The coffee was good. The life I'd built from ashes was solid beneath me. I thought about that Tuesday night, years ago, when everything changed. The texts I'd found. The lies I'd believed. The woman I'd been. She was still in there somewhere. But she was different now. Stronger. Wiser. More careful. Yes, but also more open to the possibility of joy. The door opened behind me. Daniel came out with fresh coffee and a kiss. "You look peaceful," he said. "I am." "Good. That's good." He sat beside me. We watched the kids together. The ordinary miracle of a Wednesday morning. I thought about all the roads that had led me here. The betrayal. The grief. The slow, painful rebuilding. The sister who'd broken me and was trying to heal. The husband who'd destroyed us and was trying to become someone new. The man beside me who'd shown me that trust could be rebuilt. None of it was perfect. None of it was simple. But it was mine. And for the first time in a very long time, that was enough.